And you know what Luke did in our operation? He was a street sweeper. Didn't want to be more than a street sweeper. And he was proud of what he did. And usually he worked in the square. So he'd have one set of restrooms that would be assigned to him, and the square. Sometimes it'd take a couple people to keep it clean. Luke, always a character. From time to time when one of the bands would be playing in the gazebo, he'd lay down his little dustpan and his broom, and he'd get up. Anybody know what jig dancing is? Luke could jig dance. Luke was the narrowest man I've ever seen. I swear he'd have to jump around in the shower to get wet. I mean, just amazing. He was just thin as a rail. And then the band would get through with its playing, and he would go back sweeping, understated. One day my brother was out and going through the business, as you go through your operations, in the same way. Just going through and feeling, how are things going? How are they doing? And so Luke was sitting over about where you are, Pastor, standing over there, and he had stopped sweeping, and he was, anybody know what hunkering is? You hunker. I'm not going to hunker on this stage. I might not get up. But you hunker all the way down. And Luke was so built that he made a three-point landing when he hunkered. I mean, his tail would get on the ground. Luke it wasn't that he was shirking work. He was talking to a little girl, maybe 4 or 5 years old, in a stroller, who was physically handicapped. I don't know what the problem was. It's, again, not material. She was physically handicapped. And to the side are her mom and dad. And mom and dad are crying. And Jack was looking at that, and he thought, that's at least unusual. And so after a little while, Luke stood up, and mom and dad took the stroller. The little girl's just as happy as a clam. They went off on down, probably to the candy shop to see June. Jack went up to Luke and said, Luke, what was that all about? Luke kind of went, oh, shucks, for a little bit. He said, but you know, whenever I see a little girl like that, a little kid, not a little girl, a little kid like that, who's having a tough time, for however she got there, whatever it was, whatever caused it, there she is. Said, I'll kind of walk up to him, ask mom and dad if it's okay, if I can speak to him. And then he said, I'll reach in my pocket and I'll pull out a silver dollar. And I say to the child, you being a good kid for mom and dad today? They always answered yes, of course, or they don't answer at all because they can't figure out why this tall, thin guy is talking to them. But he gives them the silver dollar. He gives it to them. And Jack said, Luke, what do you do? And he said, oh, I carry about a half a dozen every day in my pocket. And I generally give them away by the end of the day. We had no idea. We had no idea that he was doing that. Love is a verb. That was God's love in action too, I can guarantee you. Stories go on, and the stories tell the story. Sometimes those stories deal externally with guests. Sometimes they're internally, like the snow in Stone Mountain. A couple of years ago, one of our staff over at Dollywood, child was very, very ill and not sure that she was going to live. It's Christmas time. And their whole family of 4, move into the hospital. And there was no Christmas for them because they had to literally be spending all of their resources and all of their time doing exactly what each of you would do. Loving that child, being with him, sharing. So, Mom, who was our employee, our family member, by family I don't mean family, I mean company family. They collectively, about 6 of them, collectively gave up their Christmas at home. A day or 2 before, they all went shopping, and they carried on Christmas morning down to that hospital room. They carried Christmas for that child and that family, all wrapped up for the little younger sister, the child who was sick, and for Mom and Dad. It was love in action. They didn't ask anybody's permission. They didn't have to do it. They did it because they knew it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing for them to do. Love was a verb there too. I do this a lot. So just if it bothers you, get over it. You know. I said that our mission statement is to create memories worth repeating. If we do that, if you do that in your business, then whatever you do, they, being your customer, your guest, will come back. They may not come back the next morning, but they'll come back if you do it right. And you empower the men and women in your organization to know that they can take care of the needs of the guest. They don't have to run to you to get permission. Rick, you put up on the screen the purpose of integrity. We have a purpose statement too, and it's only 4 words. We're really good at 4 words because you can remember creating memories worth repeating. 4 words, Kevin, of our purpose. Purpose says why you do. A mission statement says what you do. Why and what. They're oftentimes very, very close together. And oftentimes people do run them together, and it's certainly not wrong. But what is our purpose? Why do we do what we do? And we worked long and hard on this to try to first of all get it to 4 words and try to get it to a meaningful, something that mission and purpose statements, from our perspective, are not worth the paper they're written on unless you and I and every member of your organization and every member of our organization can remember them and relate to them. When we have everybody who works at Silver Dollar City goes through training. We're up to, I know 101, 102. Do we have 103 yet, the third year for advanced? And you don't just take it one time. You have to go back. You take it again. And then you take it again, because guess what? You forget. You need to be reminded. So we worked hard on a purpose statement, and I would challenge you to do the same. But our purpose, the purpose of our company is bringing families closer together. If we do that, that's good for us. If you're in the waste management business, that probably doesn't have a lot of application. But you have a purpose, and it isn't picking up trash. We have a purpose, and it's not selling tickets. We have a purpose. It's bringing families closer together. There's another set of statements, and I'm going to leave some here with Rick. I didn't bring enough for everybody tonight, so you'll have to get your copy machines going, Rick, or equal. Every person who works in our company, I can assure you, knows this set of statements. I'm going to read parts of it, just the headlines. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can do that later. Up here on the top, it says, bringing families closer together, our purpose. Our mission, we do create memories worth repeating. And then the next 4 paragraphs below that summarize how we do what we do. And they're important. We work hard. We work hard to greatly exceed guests' expectations. If we can do that, if you can do that, in your Mayor Giuliani has a statement, or at least I attribute it to him. You promise far less than you are able to deliver. But make sure your promise is worthwhile, and then deliver better. We greatly exceed guest expectations. Second, we serve others. We serve others. Each other and our guests. This is not just aimed at the guest, at the customer. It's just as important that Mike Woody and I look out for each other and empower each other. We create an emotional connection. I hope you can make this bridge. Obviously, I don't know all of your businesses. That's not the intent. In our business, we want that emotional connection. Decisions, I will tell you, putting my marketing hat on, decisions are based on emotion. They are rationalized by facts. Decisions are based on emotion. They're rationalized by facts. And we constantly improve. We work hard at that. We find better ways. Many of them, I guarantee you, management doesn't know about. But we find better ways on a day-in, day-out basis to make the verb love work. Sometimes it's a ride. Sometimes it's just simply a sign that tells people a little something they didn't know. Improvement doesn't have to be huge. Improvement can be in very, very small pieces, but you must improve. And the last statement on here ties it all together, and certainly ties together with where we are now. The last statement at the bottom of this paragraph, this page, is all this we do in a manner consistent with Christian values and ethics. If all of it has to pass that test. If it doesn't, we don't do it. You can't come on Silver Dollar City grounds with a dirty, slurring shirt on that defames anybody or is simply not acceptable in a family. You can't do it. Security will be happy to refund your money. Security will be happy to provide you with another shirt. Security will be happy to invite you to turn your shirt inside out, but you're not going to wear that because it's not consistent with who we hope to be. At our water park in Atlanta several years ago, Ned, the general manager there, had a real problem. Gangs were coming in, youngsters, and they were wearing colors. You all know what that is. If you don't, see me afterwards. And in a family environment, when mom is there with her kids, that doesn't work. And Ned solved the problem in 2 days. He simply hired 3 off-duty uniformed officers who stood at the head of the principal walkway coming in. And the officers invited those who would choose to wear their colors in, simply invited them to take the colors off, put them in their pocket, turn their hats on properly, or physically give them their money back right then and invite them to leave. In 3 days, the problem was solved. That too is love in action. It's a little bit tough on those kids, but it was a loving thing to do for mom and the kids and the kids and the kids who were there. You guys are a great audience, and I appreciate so much the opportunity of being here. And if tomorrow they say, well, who was your speaker? And you say, I don't know, but he ran a little over time. But only by about 3 minutes. I've been watching it down here. Rick's a taskmaster. He wouldn't let me get away with that. And you can say, they ask you, what did that speaker have to say? And say, well, I don't really remember. The last thing he said was, God bless you all, and thank you very, very much for the opportunity.
Let's give Peter another warm round of applause. We're grateful for your time tonight. Thank you. God bless you. Are you guys hitting the stage? Did I say something wrong? Wasn't the introduction, was it? Okay. We're going to do what every 2.5 to 3 hour event needs, and that is stand up and take about a 5-minute break. And when I say 5 minutes, I really mean 4 minutes or less, so we can stay on task, on track, and get you guys out of here on time tonight.